Hey, all right, here we are.
Are we back?
We're live,
All
Facebook
right.
Live.
We're back with
Hey,
your host, Paul Reed, and my head man, Jason Crawford.
yep,
Another edition of Live Feed Read. It
yep,
is March the 11th,
11.
2022.
Wow.
Gas prices are $400 a gallon. And,
Feels like it.
there's a war going on in Ukraine in case you're not up on current events. That brings you up
Yeah.
to the war. Let's see. Happy birthday for Jackie. She turned, I don't know how old
Yeah.
she is, honestly. But her birthday
She
was
turned
March
she
the
turned
8th.
30. She turned 30.
Nuh-uh.
No, no, no.
I think she's got to be Ryan's age, so 33 or 34, I would think.
I was just trying to keep it round.
Okay,
Stop
well,
counting.
34 is round. So either way, she's around Ryan's age. So either way, happy birthday, belated.
Happy birthday. Do we
She did
sing
have
to
a
her?
party. It was a good time. Say again?
Do we sing to her? You want to get her in here and
No,
sing to her?
no. She's actually, believe it or not, across the hall in a deposition. So
Oh,
if we start singing to her, I might get
it'll ruin things.
some
Yeah,
laser
yeah,
eyes through the
yeah.
wall.
Oh, yeah.
Funny enough, I had a deposition this morning as well. Mine started at 9:30 and ended at 11:30.
Oh, wow.
Hers
Cutting it
started at
close.
9:30 and is still going on. That sucks.
Whoa.
I
That's
know.
that's wild, man.
But of
I
course,
remember the one deposition I sat in with you, and like it was insane. The insanity of the person on the other end was like phenomenal, but like I was impressed with how you guys were handling it. And I could see how that would drag on forever, how difficult that guy
yeah,
was being.
exactly.
Do
All
they
right.
always
So
drag on because people are being difficult, or do
there
sometimes they
are
just
where
take?
there are two types of attorneys, and kind of off topic, but there are two types
Yeah.
of law firms. Uh, One they call in-house counsel, meaning State Farm has their own law firm, Geico has their own law firm, Allstate has their own law firm, and they have attorneys that are on their payroll, like any
Hmm.
other employee. Well, those attorneys don't bill by the hour, so they have no incentive to drag out the deposition.
Okay.
Then there are private law firms like myself, a private law firm, and they will submit a bill to whatever insurance company has hired them. And so they have every reason to
Incentive.
drag a one
Yeah.
hour deposition into 3 or 4 hours
Jeez.
because you get this. I don't know how much they charge us, a couple $100 an hour, whatever it is.
Right.
They can
Right.
charge for
Right.
4 hours asking ridiculous questions.
Yeah.
Oh, what's your grandma's name? Was she at the accident? Did she see you? Did you talk to her? How old is she? I mean, it goes on and on and on. It's like nails
Yeah.
on a
Yeah.
chalk.
Wow.
So typically in-house
This is your
counsel,
appointment reminder.
shorter depots than the private firms, and so
Got you.
mine was it was not an in-house counsel situation, but it's a veteran attorney, and he doesn't, he's not, he's busy enough. He has enough work that he just needed the
Yeah.
facts and then move on.
Got
And,
it.
but if you'd had a different law firm and maybe even a younger attorney, it would have been I'd still be there.
Oh, wow.
All
Yeah.
right. So
Okay.
here's this one. I was, like I said before, there are 5 different courts of appeals,
Okay.
and those courts of appeals hear cases where one side or the other loses, typically, and they think the judge did or did not did something wrong, either let in evidence they shouldn't have, kept out evidence, or otherwise, and they get appealed. Okay, so
Okay.
I got to read those because that's basically, depending on what the appellate court says, that's kind of the law of the land, so to speak. Statutes are written generally, and then they're interpreted, and based on that interpretation is how cases are decided.
Okay.
This one kind of, it was one of those ones that irked me, made me angry, and you want to punch the lawyer actually in Miami who brought the thing. And
Okay.
Jason, you may say, "Oh, that's pretty
Wait, the
strong."
case itself made you angry that it existed?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the epitome of frivolous.
Yeah. Okay.
And so frivolous cases are those cases that everybody talks about, everybody remembers, and everybody uses to say, oh, the system's broken, and there are too many lawsuits, and the
Sure.
greedy plaintiff's lawyer because of
Yeah.
crap like this. And you
Yeah.
say crap like this. I'm
Becomes
going
the
to go ahead
poster
and read
child
it.
of. Mm-hmm.
So this one, like I said, was out of Miami. And so there was a young lad, 17 years old at the time,
Okay.
who is in a tough mental state, evidently, because he
Okay.
tries to take his own life.
Oh.
All right. So, that's not good, of course.
Yeah.
And so, but that's how this all started,
Wow.
because he then goes to the defendant's building, a private property, a building,
Okay.
gains access to the roof and jumps off.
Wow.
Okay, so what we have is a 17-year-old in a tough mental way that goes to a private, company's building and jumps off. Well, fortunately, and hopefully the young lad's doing better now. He
Yeah.
lived. He lived, but he sustained, as you can imagine, pretty
Yeah.
significant injuries,
Of
broken
course.
bones. The list goes on and on, and they
Yeah.
don't really detail all that. They just say that he sustained significant injuries and medical bills and things of that nature. So, and this is what irks me is basically the young lad buying through his Miami attorney. They sue the owner of the building.
Okay.
Yes, that was the face I made. So they sue the owner of the building for negligence. And the court, which is at the trial court before the appellate court, um, basically had a hearing, heard the facts, here's what happened, and said, well, granted a summary judgment for the building owner saying, no, you're not responsible for a basically undiscovered trespasser sneaking up onto your roof and jumping off.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so number one, I think that's the right call.
I agree with that.
Right. So this Miami lawyer thought, and I know what was driving his decision to appeal. The injuries were catastrophic, right?
I'm sure
And
they were,
so the thought process is,
because the attempt was to be catastrophic.
yeah, the thought process is, well, let's say they fine my client 50% or 60% or 70%, but they find the building owner for whatever reason 25%. Well,
Yeah.
25% of $10 million is a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that's why the lawyer pursued it, even though, in my opinion, when he got the call, he should have said, you were a trespasser, you climbed up on the building, you got to the roof, you jumped off. No, that's not the building owner's fault. That would have been the end of it with Reed and Reed. I would have not taken the case.
Yeah.
But this Miami lawyer did. Not only that, he appealed it.
Jeez.
Here's a question. Did the appellate court in the Miami region, which I believe the third district, did they say, Jason, the judge was right, summary judgment was appropriate, you're done? Or did they say, well, it's a fact, there are facts that are there that a jury should decide, go back and have your trial? What did the third district court of appeal say, Mr. Crawford?
Please tell me they agreed with the judge.
They did.
Okay.
They just said, reviewing the facts that appear in the
Jeez.
complaint, there's no viable claim for premises liability.
So is there any repercussion for this? I mean, I feel like I agree with you that it is frivolous of a
Yeah.
lawsuit. Like
Mhm.
it on the outset, it doesn't seem like it should have one at all to begin with.
Well, it
So
didn't.
wouldn't a good lawyer know that? Or is it greed? So is it one of those things where there's any sort of repercussion for bringing what would be a frivolous lawsuit for the lawyer, so they're
Well,
not gumming up?
the problem, frivolous lawsuits, the problem with those is, one, even in politics,
Yeah.
one person's frivolous is another person's
True.
justified.
Yeah, let the court decide. Okay.
Is justified. So frivolous is
Yeah.
a very, you almost,
Yeah, it's a fine line.
frivolous law means you know that this issue has been decided basically by the highest court of the state or the highest court in the land, and you just disregard that. But even that, even if a case has been decided, Roe versus Wade,
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say then
it's
that
not
doesn't allow for
frivolous
years
if you're
later something
trying
being
to
overturned.
overturn.
Yeah.
So frivolous is very, very, very
Yeah.
difficult
I
standard
understand now.
to
Yeah, I get
apply.
what you're saying.
Okay. So and this guy's
It's a good
position
point.
was, I'm sure, that the property owner didn't take the necessary steps to secure his rooftop, meaning he left doors on, maybe stairwells unlocked. I don't know. They don't go into the facts,
Sure.
but frivolous is, well, you didn't do this and you didn't do that. And case in point, and this kid was 17, so this doctrine wouldn't apply, but there's what's called an attractive nuisance doctrine. And what that means is, let's say you're building whatever,
Yeah.
and you're building it near an apartment complex. Just call it a gas station. Who knows? But you're building it across the street from an apartment complex, and
Okay.
you pile up a mound of dirt that's 30 feet high, right?
Yeah.
You got this huge dirt mountain. Maybe you're building a gas station and you're digging holes to build the pumps, and you leave this 30-foot dirt mound out there. And
Yeah.
a couple of kids from the apartment complex see this
They come
dirt
and
mound.
play
They
in it or
go
something.
over and they are on the top of it, and they got their little big wheel. They push Junior down and he rolls and breaks his neck.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
the attractive nuisance doctrine basically says, look, kids will be kids. And you should have known when these 6, 7, or 8-year-olds saw a 30-foot mountain of dirt, that was a playground.
Could have run for it.
So you should have taken the proper steps to do the best you can to secure that. You follow me? So there have
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, there was probably some allegation in the complaint that the property owner should have done something to secure or make it difficult to gain access to the roof. Now I tell you, if this had been children that somehow got up on that roof, and feller jumped off playing Superman, this could have been a different outcome.
Possibly. I was gonna say intent kind of matters, right?
But he's 17 years old. He's not a child.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
I think it fell the fact that he's not a child. I mean, 17 is almost 18.
It's like if my 2-year-old, wandered up.
That's what I'm saying. There's the attractive nuisance doctrine.
Yeah.
Where
that makes sense.
Come into place. But anyway, so they kicked that to the curb, and that would be the end of that.
Okay.
All right. So before we started, one of the cases that came up for trial this last couple of weeks was that Jussie Smollett.
Oh, right.
If our listeners remember, they don't. He was an African-American actor, I believe in Chicago, Minnesota, or somewhere up in that neck of the woods, who alleged that he was attacked and was the victim
by Trump supporters or something.
Was a victim of a racial attack.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then I guess as the investigation proceeded, it became obvious, at least to the jury that convicted him this week, that he was not attacked, that this was made up, and then he was charged with filing a false police report.
Okay.
So Jason and I were talking about it. He got 150 days, 30 months probation, and I think $200,000 in restitution to have to pay back for the investigative costs and things of that nature.
Okay.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and I didn't watch it, it was a 3rd-degree felony, which was probably punishable by 1, 2, 3, up to 5 years in prison.
Okay.
The question was, well, why does somebody get one sentence versus somebody else gets another? And was that sentence appropriate? First, filing a false police report, the judge made it clear, because I did go back and watch what the judge had said before sentencing, is this is what I'm ruling on, this is what I'm sentencing on. All of this happened, and he did this, and he did that, and the media did this, the media did that. But at the bottom, at the end of the day, Mr. Smollett was charged with filing a false police report. He was found guilty, and that's what I'm sentencing him to. 150 days in the slammer, that's no joke.
That's a lot.
That's 4 or 5 months, a couple $100,000 for restitution. that he more likely than not has the money to pay. That's no joke. 30
Yeah.
months, 30 months of probation, pain in the ass. That's no
Yeah.
joke. And he more likely than not lost his career. So, if you look at it like that, the filing the false police report, which was the charge, I think the punishment fit the crime. People may
Okay.
disagree. That's fine. But, and I know the ramifications, but again, you got to look at the four corners of the document. What was I charged with, and what was my sentence?
Yeah.
So, and again, if you think 150 days is not a lot, go into your living room or into your bedroom, sit on the couch,
For 15
and
minutes and do
eat,
nothing.
eat bologna sandwiches and drink water for 150 days. and then
Yeah.
go and take again, I don't know what jelly's going to do. You get a 2-minute shower that's lukewarm, and go outside once in a while for 150 days.
Yeah.
You know.
That's wild.
And then you would ask, well, who decides, or how does
Yeah.
one decide, or the judge decide whether to give you 5 years, 3 years, 150 days for whatever the charge is? And I'll tell you, that basically is up to your judge, and they have a lot of discretion, and it depends on the facts of the case. Number one, what is the judge going to hear when he sentences you? Because he listens to the trial too. Number two, does the judge like you? Does he think you're contrite? Does he think you're remorseful? Do you show anything to that judge like, yeah, I'm an idiot, and I shouldn't have done this? That makes a difference. And then just again, if you do something that's fundamentally the judge fundamentally doesn't like, well, you don't want to be in front of that.
Yeah, like it's just it crosses the line for the judge personally.
For me, I'm not a big fan of thievery.
Okay.
You can do a lot, and I let you slide. I don't like a thief.
Yeah.
I don't. I just don't. And so if you come before me and you're stealing, well, you're apt to get the max. And I may give you the benefit of the doubt on the first time. Boy, you better not come back twice, because now you're just a thief. I just throw away the key. I'm not a fan of thievery.
Yeah,
so
interesting.
If it was me, thievery, it would not be good. If whatever you like or dislike when it comes to crime, so to speak, and no one likes crime, but some things are worse than others. I had a judge. I was at traffic court, and the other day, it's Zoom, but the guy had just got his Audi R8 out of the shop, and he wanted to see if it was working properly. So he's blasting up 75 between Fletcher and Bruceby Downs. He's doing 132 miles an hour.
No way.
Yeah, way. And so if I was the judge, I get it. I got a race car. Sometimes there's nobody in between Fletcher and Bears. If you know the area, the police officer sits off to the side, and he
slap him on the wrist, maybe.
He's smoky, and the bandit's by this guy. Yeah. He pulls him over. I wouldn't throw the book at you. I mean, honestly, it's a mandatory $1,000 fine for going that fast. But the judge, sentenced him the $1,000 fine, 12 hours of aggressive, whatever you want to call it, driver improvement school.
That's interesting. Have you seen the videos of that one judge going around where like he had like a veteran in front of him, and
I don't watch videos to answer your question.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll send them to you. Maybe we can talk about them next time, because that'll be a good conversation for next time. Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, I would have, if it's $1,000 fine, I would have fined him $1,000. If his driving record was not, was okay, I would have withheld adjudication, meaning he didn't get the point, and I would have sent him packing. But that's the thing. I have a fast car, and I do exceed the speed limit quite frequently.
We're not admitting anything on camera.
And
Yeah.
so I get it.
Yeah.
Other person, judge, I don't know, drives a Prius.
Yeah. Right.
Drives, but
Yeah, a little envious, maybe.
Did not feel kindly to him doing 132 miles an
Yeah.
hour.
How dare you?
Much embarrassed and threw the book at him. So it's up
Got
to
you.
the judge.
So the judge
know?
has like judicial room. Yeah.
Oh yeah, don't
Interesting.
think that black robe
I didn't know
does-
that. Yeah.
Don't think the black robe doesn't have power. Black robe has power.
Interesting. Probably more than
More than you know.
yeah.
More than you know.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
So
all right, cool.
that's it for today. It's
yeah, I think that
going
wraps
to
it up.
Be, cold and rainy Friday and Saturday.
Can be
If you're
fantastic.
out at there's a parade in Ybor City, the night parade for St. Patrick's Day.
That you probably want to avoid now because of the
I
weather.
do not, because I will be on a float with the MOR float.
Oh,
going
that's
out
right. That's right. That's right.
So if you go down to the parade, you see the MOR float or
Yeah.
MOR, I'll be chunking beads at you.
I should go
All
with you and
so,
take pictures.
So that's it. We're done for today.
Yeah.
And
All right.
Jason and I are out.
Sounds good.